Hello, everybody, and welcome to our movie review of Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Thank you so much for joining us. I guess we can introduce ourselves just like we did last time. I'm Joe Thompson. I'm the action animation expert. Hello.
I'm Dyllan, one of the two superhero and sci-fi experts.
I'm Garrett. I am the indie and drama expert.
And I'm Matthew, the better superhero and sci-fi expert.
For context, we just recorded our main episode, and we didn't talk about how we were going to introduce ourselves. And we didn't do it with this one, too.
Oops.
Fail.
But yeah, it's time for the action-packed movie of the almost summer, or I guess you can call it a summer
It's
movie.
the start of
opening weekend.
it's the start of the summer.
Yeah, there you go.
This episode's going to be quite mad.
Dadgummit.
Actually, I can start removing stuff. Yeah, I can remove stuff now.
Oh, that's right.
372.
Episodes are main episodes. Movie
No,
review.
I said that I can remove stuff in other content.
Well, these are considered main episodes. I've been counting these as main episodes.
If it ain't a main episode, it ain't a main episode. This is a movie review.
Anyway,
Don't fucking try to get that point
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
Screw you. Don't make the jokes.
we're reviewing Furiosa today. We're also going to be ranking the Mad Max movies.
Yes.
Some of us have watched them for the first time.
Yep.
I've seen I've seen all of them except for Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ah, okay.
But we'll rank the movies at the end. We're going to jump right into our review. If you don't know, this movie just came out this weekend.
Yeah.
So, spoilers!
Yeah, spoilers
Yeah.
if you guys have not seen it.
You got 3 weeks before we stop giving you a spoiler warning.
Yeah,
for this.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't want spoilers, go rev your engines and head to the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those of you guys who don't know, this is the sequel / prequel to Mad Max Fury Road.
Prequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pre-sequel.
Yeah, pre-sequel. Yes, pre-sequel. Which Fury Road was awesome. It's an amazing film. Fury Road is
One of
awesome.
the best action films ever made, in my opinion.
Yes. So I figured since it's action, I guess I'll give my thoughts on Furiosa on this one. So, of course, I was pretty excited to see this movie, but I didn't watch any of the Mad Max movies going into it at the time until I decided to watch all of them leading up to Furiosa.
Mhm.
Boy, has the franchise has quickly
They're very-
changed since 1979.
Yep.
They're very different
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah.
The original Mad Max is more like a slow burn, independent, like revenge thriller.
Yeah.
And even though it's like post-apocalyptic, it really does. It feels like the beginning of like a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, it's the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially when you compare to like where they are in Fury Road, it's like, good God.
I will mention that real quick right now since we mentioned the first Mad Max. The budget has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did research. That's why I told Johnny I'm going to kick his butt if he steals my
I
thunder.
wasn't going to do it.
I actually did research for this. The original budget, it was originally an Australian production.
Yeah.
Like, it was not made by a major studio. It got distributed by Warner Brothers
Yeah.
or
Right.
MGM or whatever. I think it was MGM at that time.
It was might have been Road Warriors. I can't
I believe the original
I
was
don't
MGM.
remember.
Okay.
But it was originally made like Australian dollar.
Mm.
So
How much?
the U.S. convert was, I believe, 174.
Like,
So 233,000.
well, keep in mind this is 70s, so this is not accounting for like inflation.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Current inflation.
But that's still like probably only like $1 million.
yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you get to Road Warrior, which has a significant, upgrade in like production.
Yeah.
and all
that
that
feels
stuff.
more like Fury Road.
Yeah, so Fury Road is almost like a soft remake of Road Warrior, with just
I
some
see that.
new elements here and there, but like,
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
way
feel
higher
very
budget.
similar. And then you get to now, even though I haven't seen it, I do know a lot about Thunderdome, which, from what I understand, like took kind of another weird shift with the series.
It's different. Yeah.
Not for the better. It's often considered like the weakest of the Mad Max films. And then you get to the franchise was like non-existent for like decades.
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
30,
20,
there was
29.
30 years between Fury Road and Thunderdome, right?
I believe 86 was when Thunderdome came out, so 29 years.
Yeah, nearly 30 years. And then here comes Fury Road, directed by George Miller again.
This
George,
is his baby.
Now, George Miller has a weird director career of his own. Like,
Yeah,
you
he
have
does.
the Mad Max movies, then you also have Babe, a Pig in the City, which is the sequel to Babe, which is insane.
and the Happy Feet movies.
Then
Yeah,
Happy,
the Happy Feet
Happy
movies.
Feet. The same guy who did Fury Road did Happy Feet. I mean,
Hilarious,
if
huh?
that's not range, I don't know what is.
Yeah. So he has directed a variety of stuff.
So yeah,
That's just put it like
Fury Road came out in 2015, and there was. I'm not gonna say it was like one of the most anticipated films of the year, like overall, but like hardcore fans of the Mad Max films, because let's be honest, like even though the Mad Max films are popular with like film people, this is not an easy franchise to like get into for like normal people. Like,
there was like
it's clearly
for normal
not
people.
like older generations get into it more than I think
yeah.
younger people.
There were including me and John. There were maybe 10 people in the theater.
Yeah.
Opening night,
Yeah.
and it was all older people except for us. It was all
Yeah,
like 60
so-
plus.
This is not a franchise for everyone. Like this is not like Star Wars or the MCU.
Yeah.
And Fury Road even I remember when it came out wasn't that huge like
Right.
box office wise. Like
I think it was like 400
it
million.
did okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like it was not like a gangbuster success. But despite that, Fury Road when I saw it like was on a whole other level than what I
Yeah.
was used to. Like
Yeah,
I
it was
can't
awesome.
I cannot even describe the adrenaline I had when I first watched Fury Road in the theater. Like it was something I had never really seen before. Like it was every single sequence in that film is riveting. Like and it's just George Miller was like in his 70s when he directed Fury Road, and he
Yup.
directed it with more energy than I've seen from directors in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like every single shot in Fury Road is like injected with like adrenaline, like to the nth degree. It's Fury Road is I watched it again last night. I watched it after I watched Furiosa. I don't know if you guys watched Fury Road before.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
I
I
did,
did.
I watched it after. And it's still just as intense and
Oh yeah.
and as exciting as I remember it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just incredible film.
It is.
But yeah, then you get to Furiosa, and Fury Road created. Honestly, it's called Mad Max. It's Fury Road is Furiosa's movie. Like
Yeah.
that's
That
he's
is
the main
true.
character,
Yeah.
basically.
That's what a lot of people said.
A lot. I don't know. A lot of people complained about this movie that it needed Max in there. Furiosa is all you need.
Yeah.
She's the interesting character. Max in Fury Road, I mean, Max is cool just because like he's Tom Hardy. and
Exactly.
He was in the others. He's played by Mel Gibson.
Well, technically, Max was in Furiosa.
Well, a little bit, but like not like
Yeah.
Not by much.
It's
though.
just a
cameo.
shot.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It
any
wasn't even by
reference
Tom
maybe,
Hardy.
but like
yeah, it was a cameo.
but it's like Max doesn't really have much of a character arc in Fury
No.
Road, or
No.
honestly, in like the
Any
other
of them, really.
except for the first one. The first
Yeah.
one is his movie because it's like
Right.
about him getting revenge. But like
Yeah.
Right.
Every movie after he's the NPC. in
Fury
his own
Road,
movie.
he's just kind of there to like help the Furiosa and the wives
Yes.
escape.
Yeah.
That's really it. And at the end of the movie, he just kind of walks off like, "See ya."
Yeah, which he does with every other fucking movie.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like,
See ya.
I don't really understand like the thing where people feel like Max needs to be like the central point when he in any of the other movies he's really not.
He isn't. No.
Because and Furiosa is so badass in Fury Road, played by Charlize Theron.
She was awesome.
And in this one, she's played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Which she's not actually the main. Anya Taylor-Joy is actually not the lead actress for half the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
caught me off guard.
Yeah, that
so
really
yeah, not to. This is not really into spoiler territory yet. So, the first half, most of the movie, or at least the first hour of it, is Furiosa
It's
as a
literally
child,
the first
who's
half.
played
It's
by
like the first hour 15.
Aaliyah Brown, I think her name
Yeah.
is, who does an incredible job.
She
Yeah,
did. She
as
100%.
well
was
as
amazing.
Anya
yes,
Taylor-Joy.
love her. Yeah.
And Anya Taylor-Joy, you probably might have heard she has like maybe 30 lines of dialogue.
Yes.
And it honestly 30 seems like a stress even watching it. Like
Right.
Furo, the most she talks in the film is like the scene at the end, which we'll get into later. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
most of the film, she's like stone cold silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Much like Max and Fury Road, who also was for most of the movie silent as well. But yeah, I love this movie. I
Yes.
So did I.
loved this movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as action-packed as Fury Road.
And that's
That is true,
That's intentional by design.
Yes.
This movie is not meant to be Fury Road 2.0.
No.
This
That's
is
coming
an
later.
entirely
Precursor,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, this movie reminded me more of like the original Mad Max, where
Yeah.
it's not really about the action, so to say, but it's more about the revenge. Like the original Mad Max, this one is also a revenge plot of sorts, and
Yeah.
it's more about this one really. While Fury Road did do some good world building, this one goes heavy on the world building. You get to learn more about like the different like towns and factions, so to say.
We actually finally see Gastown in the
You
Bullet
get
Farm.
to see Gastown.
Yeah.
You get to learn more about the bullet farmers that you've got to see in Fury Road.
Yeah.
You get to learn a little bit more about Immortan Joe and the War Boys.
the Green
Yeah.
Place.
The Green Place as well. And yeah, of course, you get to learn why Furiosa was the way she was in Fury Road. Chris Hemsworth in this movie.
We need more.
Yes.
Oh my
Great.
god!
We need more villain Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, please. I
Yeah.
still haven't watched the hotel one with Tron. Crap. Kevin. I'm
let me
shooting
go.
myself right now. This is I can't.
Did he play a villain in that?
In Tron he was Kevin Flynn. In
Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
Kevin Flynn, yes.
Let me look here.
Yeah.
I
I mean, while he's
I-
doing it, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because he was in that. I forget what the fucking Bad Times at the El Royale.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was great in that.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad you brought that movie up. He's great in that. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I want to see more of from Hemsworth, because
Yeah.
I mean, I've had my fill with him as like the comedic guy. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder was like, okay, Chris, do something else that's more worth your
I like
time.
Love and Thunder, though.
I like funny Thor, not to that extent.
Agreed.
Not to that extent that they is like. I love Hemsworth's Thor like the most in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like that is the best Thor that we've got.
Yeah.
I want.
MCU.
I want Thor to die in the next Avengers movie, and I want to see Chris Hemsworth enter his villain era.
Like Hemsworth
Please.
works best in my opinion. Like I love his comedy side in Ragnarok, but like I really do love I do like when he's more serious and he actually, and that's why I like the first Thor movie. Despite, some divisive thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I
But
love
Chris Hemsworth, for me, it was a career-defining
movie-
performance. That was
This
he
is
was
it
amazing.
felt like he was like this was like almost like an exhale this entire performance. Like
Yeah.
just getting to let loose
Yes.
in this entire movie. Like just over the top as hell, of course,
I mean, you're playing a character called Dementus.
Yes,
Mhm.
Dr. Dementus is the character's name.
yes.
Every scene with him is just exhilarating.
Yeah. He is amazing.
You can tell that he's wanted to do this kind of role for a while now. And of course, Mad Max, has created so many like crazy, kooky characters, especially its villains, and this is no exception. He is chewing up in this movie.
Yeah.
Even as a villain, though, he's still like the dude, bro.
Yeah. And even there, I was actually surprised because even though he is incredibly over the top in this movie, by the end you actually do kind of get more out of him than you actually expect. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a scene between him and Furiosa, and he does have a few he does have his funny moments in the movie, and I also did think he actually, in the beginning, when he first meets her as a child, because the general gist is that he takes, would this, I don't really want to get into that yet. That might be technically a spoiler, but he takes Furiosa under his wing as a child, and he does actually he still does actually play in the first part of the movie. He does play the charming part of the character fairly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the question is, do you have it in you to make it epic? He has so many like fun lines in this movie.
Yeah.
At the end of this, we'll have to discuss the ending scene.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss that.
Yes.
We're gonna have to talk about everything else before
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
because that's a
we'll save that for
lot.
last,
Yeah, but yeah, I personally think for me, I hope I'm not alone in this one, but I personally think that two things. One, this is Heath Ledger's Joker.
I
performance
did
that he
get
gave
those
him.
vibes from his performance.
Yeah.
In certain parts.
Yeah, and secondly, I personally think that should, for me, get him an Oscar nomination for his performance. Like, I mean, serious. It is.
I think he could be.
Potential.
Yeah,
Potentially.
he was great in this film.
I definitely think this film is going to light up the Oscars like
Mhm.
Fury Road did.
Yeah, Fury Road. yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But the action. Oh my gosh, when there's action, it's amazing.
Now
There's some great action.
there have
That was
been
great.
there have been complaints about the movie relying more on CGI than Fury Road did.
Okay.
And honestly, I mean, at some points in the movie, I could tell where the CGI was and where they were, because not all the movie is CGI. They still do a lot of the stunts. They
Yeah.
still do a lot of those. They clearly made a lot of those crazy vehicles.
Out in the Australian desert.
Yeah.
That's where they shoot all of them.
The movie, like, I have heard a lot of those complaints. This is not like Marvel level use of CGI or anything like that. The movie still does enough, at least for me.
It's more like an accent.
Yeah, and it honestly, it does feel style. It's not trying to do that same kind of. It's not trying to be as like outlandish and like as crazy as Fury Road was, where Fury Road was like it was much shorter than this one, and it was like Fury Road was essentially, it was very loose on story or plot, but it
was just an adrenaline rush.
It was a 2-hour long chase,
Yeah.
and it did it incredibly well. This movie's not like that. This one takes more of it takes its time more,
Yeah.
to
It feels more like a
build
thriller
up the
with
world
like
and
building to the intense spots.
yeah, and the movie still has some incredible action sequences,
Yes.
especially one where there's a lot of like long takes involving these guys on like bungee cords like around this vehicle. That was awesome. There's a few others involving that big like depot where it was closer to the end where Furiosa is like going against Dementis, and you see in the trailer where Dementis is like holding onto a ledge and there's like bullets like
Yeah.
Yeah, the
shooting
bullet
past
farm.
him. Yeah,
That
the
was
scene at the
great.
bullet farm was also great.
The flying sequence was awesome when they were
Yes.
shooting arrows when they were
Yes,
flying.
that was cool.
Yeah, that was really great. Yeah, I love the background story of Furiosa. Like, you knew she was going to be okay in Fury Road, but you're just but worry like it like you're so captivated by the character. Like, is she going to be okay? You know she's going to survive, but you're just so
That's
captivated.
the thing
by,
I love
by
about
this character.
Fury Road is that it's still despite clearly showing that these characters are very skilled in combat and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
they're used to this crazy world. With the best action movies, in my opinion, still put the best action movies, in my opinion, put their characters in the most danger.
Yes.
Those are the characters when they're in the most danger. Those are the best action films, in my opinion.
Yeah.
like Indiana Jones or Die Hard, for example.
I love the scene of Furiosa keep punching Chris Hemsworth
Yes.
in the face.
That entire
I love
there's
that
a scene between the
sequence.
two of them near the end. That might be more than the action sequences, which are great in this movie. Honestly, the scenes I'll remember most from this movie are the ones that don't have much action. They're just like character. They're just character based, and
Yeah.
that scene between the two of them,
punch.
that scene between the two of them is just the dialogue between those two is great.
Yeah.
We'll save the other scene for the very
Yeah.
end. At the thing that takes place at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
We'll save that for the very end.
I think that's all the non-spoiler stuff I want to get into until we get to the spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
So
Right. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. You got a funny story you wanted to share.
I want to hear this.
After we got done with the film.
Oh yeah.
You gotta tell us that it was hilarious.
So it was pouring rain when
Yeah.
we got out of the movie. I pointed to the car and said, "John, do you see the car?" And I described the car. And he's like, "Yes, I see it." He takes off like the freaking Roadrunner, running through the parking lot, run straight past the car. I said, "John, right here." And he's like, "I thought you meant that car over there." I said, "That's yellow, not gold." I said, "What, were you going to run all the way home?"
I was running like Forrest Gump, and I was actually thinking to myself, I kept running and saying, "Run, Forrest, run!"
Man, what is up with you and being outside and wet?
We didn't know it was going to rain outside, though. We didn't know
Was
it was
that
going to.
today?
That was
That's
your
Friday
excuse
night.
last time too.
Yeah.
I don't, did oh yeah, it
was
rained.
Friday night.
I didn't know
yeah,
it was going to
Friday
rain
was a
this
pretty
hard.
bad
Like,
storm.
we didn't even bring our jackets or anything like that.
I
But it
wasn't
was hilarious.
prepared
It was
for it.
hilarious. The movie was awesome, but it was even funnier after the film was over.
Yeah.
I'm wearing sandals, so I'm trying to keep up with freaking Roadrunner over here.
Maybe you should be one of the war boys.
Yeah, maybe. You know
Well-
what? Cover him in some flour. I think we could make it work.
You're weighted in Valhalla, buddy.
Witness me!
Oh my!
I have a story to tell you about Witness Me later, too.
Mediocre.
So the thing I told you about with Paul yesterday that we did,
Yeah.
I got to tell you a story about that when we're done.
It was hilarious. Though. It was great.
But yeah,
Yeah, it was incredible.
Mm.
But this movie is. I said this when I reviewed it. When I posted my letterbox. This movie, Fury Road, is not this movie, and this movie is not Fury Road.
Right.
They are different movies, and I think you should judge them based on that.
Yes.
Right.
And like personal wise, Fury Road is still the better movie, of course, but like that's such a high bar.
Oh
And
yeah.
if this movie tried to do what Fury Road did, it would have been good.
Yeah.
Goddamn dogs. The dogs agree with it. So, but no, I'm so glad that this movie took a different path and didn't try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, this movie almost felt like a biblical epic. It's in many areas.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Some of the shots in general, like there's a shot involving
The crucifixion almost.
yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. There's a shot in a character's eye that really did make me feel that way in the beginning. Honestly, yeah.
Some behind the scenes stuff that I wanted to bring up. What were you saying, Dyllan?
Well, I was just going to touch on what Garrett said for a second because there is some imagery in there. For example, even though we know that Dementus is a bad guy,
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
wearing the parachute and it's like perfectly clear and white, and it's super clean up until he meets that first war boy where he gets doused in red.
That
and
was
he
one of
stays
the
like that.
that was
rest
one of the
time.
coolest moments. And for the majority of that sequence, he just is streaked
Yeah.
in like red.
Well, as
cool.
the movie goes on too, there's even more wear and tear to the parachute. I feel like the
Uses
parachute
it
was a
as
huge
a
part of his
cape.
character. Yeah. Well, I mean, as you follow just like his character throughout the movie, he gets worse and worse as the movie goes.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really start to have that fall until after he meets that war boy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he gets doused in the red. So like this like clean white is
Yeah.
immediately tainted, and I feel like there's a lot of really good uses of imagery here
Yes.
without directly saying something, and
Right.
I like the correlations.
I'll say this because I do think when there are some people who weren't into Fury Road because it was just all about the action, not really about the character or the story.
Hmm.
Even though I think watching it again, there's still enough like great character work, and especially with Furiosa.
Yeah.
But like, if that was your like main criticism with Fury Road, that it didn't have enough story for you, I think
Watch
this
the
film
two together.
This film, I think, is
Yeah,
a great
I agree.
companion, and I think you'd like this better if you wanted more story from Fury Road, because
Right.
this movie, I think, still gives you enough of that George Miller's crazy style that Fury Road had, but it doesn't like hammer it home as much, I'd say.
Right.
And allows more character development in here, which I think both these movies are great companion pieces, and both service each other extremely well.
Yeah.
And it's not often that I can say that, because in my opinion, and I think most people can agree, most prequels suck and are completely unnecessary. And in my opinion, we've actually had two really great prequels this year. This being one of them, and the other being The First Omen. It's not often I can say that there's two great prequels in a year of movies. And I love this movie.
Yeah. Some behind the scenes stuff I want to get to. Anya Taylor-Joy actually does not have a license. She learned to drive on the set of this movie. She does not know how to
wow.
parallel park, but she knows how to 180 the car.
Hell yeah! It's more useful anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
In case if the world ever becomes a desert wasteland.
Yeah, no, she's prepared.
Yeah, real quick. She said that they shot the whole crazy sequence. It took her 8 months to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe the interview I was watching was from Stephen Colbert. I was watching it on YouTube because I'd seen like a clip on Instagram, so I searched it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
He said, I think it was Stephen Colbert. I don't remember. But what the interviewer said was, when you go to get your license, just show them the movie and say, "Here, give me my license."
That's the test.
Good choice.
That's your driver's test.
That was one thing I wanted to mention.
Making a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. The scene with the parachutes and stuff.
Yeah.
Once again, another reason we need an Oscar stunt category.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
The stunts in both these movies are just insane.
They are.
15-minute scene. 200 stunt people, 78 days.
You know, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That it really fucking is.
And yet I still hear people complain about the CGI in the movie. Like, you see the work being put
exactly.
in
Right.
Yeah.
in almost every scene. So.
And the last thing I just wanted to say, I believe the Mad Max movies were ahead of their time. They couldn't live up to their full potential in the 80s because of the technology and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that 30-year gap, it needed it.
As far as because I do still want to watch Beyond Thunderdome just for the context of everything, but these two movies, and I like Road Warrior. I love Road Warrior, and I really like the first Mad Max. Fury Road and Furiosa is second, and Fury Road is number one. Both these movies are my favorites.
They're a whole nother level. The
Yeah.
originals.
They are. Yeah.
Yes.
One thing that I wanted to throw out there is after watching Furiosa last night, I started playing the 2015 Mad Max game.
I need to play that.
Okay, I'm not really going to spoil anything, but it's interesting. First of all, I fucking love the game. It's super good. If you haven't played it, go check it out. It's like $5 right now. It's on sale until like halfway through next week, I think.
Oh, cool.
At least on PlayStation. I'm not sure about Xbox, but I can only assume.
I do enjoy the Mad Max movies. I'm going to have to find the PlayStation stores I can play
It's
it.
so good.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite games I've ever played, at least on Xbox.
Nice.
But going from watching Furiosa to playing the Mad Max game today, I went through some of the lore bits in the section that they give you. And as I was going through, one of the very first things that's really interesting is this uses a lot of Fury Road and Furiosa imagery and designs. So like the War Boys are a huge part of it. They're like the main enemy type that you come across. But one of the first, technically the big bad of the game is Scrotus, and Morton Joe's son.
Okay, I was not prepared to hear that name being said. When that name was said, everyone in the theater cracked up. and what the other one was Rictus.
Yeah,
right?
Rictus, yeah.
Rictus and Scrotus.
Well, okay. That leads me to one of the things I wanted to talk about before we get into the spoiler talk. is what's really interesting about that is first of all, in Furiosa, I don't think we had Scrotus in Fury Road. Scrotus is in Furiosa. Scrotus is also in the Mad Max game.
Yes.
In Furiosa, he's played by Mark Hellman. I believe that's his name, but he was you would recognize him from Apocalypse and Days of Future Past, where he plays Kelly, or not Kelly, the guy in charge of the Weapon X program.
Mm.
You know who I'm fucking talking about?
Trask?
Not Trask.
No,
You know who I'm talking about.
Trask
though.
is Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, he played that character in the X-Men movies. He was Scrotus in this, but he was also the guy riding with Nux in Fury Road. It's the same actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now, yes.
Yeah,
it is
it
the same
clicks,
guy.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something else I forgot to mention too. The original villain from Mad Max 1.
Yeah, he played Morton Joe.
Yeah, he's the Morton Joe,
Yep.
different
And he
character. Yeah.
Unfortunately, passed away.
I
years ago.
just bought the video game on the PlayStation Store.
Hell yes, high five. You're gonna enjoy it so much. It's
Okay,
great.
I'll let you know when I play it.
Awesome. The thing about before I get back to what I was talking about, the Morton Joe thing, the Jack Byrne, who played Furiosa's mentor in Furiosa, was the body double for Morton Joe in Furiosa as well.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so little piece of trivia for that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I wanted to, the thing that reminded me about Scrotus and Mad Max is the game Mad Max is that the first villain that you come across is Scrotus, but Scrotus looks exactly like Rictus.
Okay.
So I think that when they were developing when George Miller was developing Fury Road, because I can only imagine how much of a footprint he had in the game.
He's been working on this for years.
Exactly, they went from a Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Rictus was originally supposed to be Scrotus. I don't know who the fuck Scrotus was supposed to, or well, they switched it obviously, but
Yeah.
whatever. I thought that was really interesting. But there's also a Dementus name drop back in 2015 in the Mad Max video game as Dr. Dementus.
Yeah.
And wasn't he just Lord Dementus in Furiosa?
The original IMDb page said Dr. Dementus.
Okay.
And they
okay.
changed it. Yeah.
All right. So I actually have a theory about that. I think that Dementus or Dr. Dementus, when he was just originally Dr. Dementus, I think that Dr. Dementus was supposed to be the other character that Morton Joe got. The blood doctor.
Yeah.
I think that Dr. Dementus was supposed to have that part, and then they probably ended up wanting to do other things with Dementus for Furiosa,
Yeah.
and so they changed it for this. Because
Yeah.
Mad Max, like I said, Mad Max, the game was supposed to tie in with Fury Road pretty well. Like this is
Right.
supposed to be
Yeah,
the precursor
exactly,
to
yeah.
the story. And it was just really interesting going through the lore bits in the Mad Max game and seeing these tiny little pieces. And they name drop a lot of people. There's a lot of lore in the Mad Max game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of lore in Mad Max, period.
Well, yeah. I just going through the video game, I thought that was really cool
If
because
you're a
it shows how characters changed during the development of movies.
If you're a casual fan, they look like basic movies,
Yeah.
but they are there's a lot to them.
Well, it also helps that they just to talk about even just the original movies. It helps that they show more than they talk.
Yeah.
Like they do a lot more visual storytelling. In
There's
it.
very little exposition in these movies. Like, this is what I mean. This is what I think is great world building.
Yes.
Like, I hate when like big fantasy or sci-fi movies have to explain the world to you rather than showing you.
Yeah.
And both these movies are great examples, especially this movie where it really goes deeper into it, like how the world works in this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like big budget like sci-fi or fantasy movies need to take notes from this movie, especially like on how to build an interesting world, but also a convincing one on how it actually could work.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm fully with you there. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit about the game. Just give that a mention since we're talking about the movies too.
Let's get into some spoilers.
Yeah, please. Holy crap. Go ahead. I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, the crucifixion scene, basically crucifixion, they don't call it that, but like with Furiosa's mother.
Yeah, she's tied
That
to a
was
tree.
shot so well.
Yeah, that's the shot I was
Man.
talking about where it goes into Furiosa's eyes, and I love shots like that in general.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a So 40 minutes of the movie belongs to Aaliyah Brown in the film, and
It was longer than that.
yeah,
It was like an hour
longer,
15,
definitely.
hour 20.
And also the chapter breaks kind of
Yeah.
surprised me.
That was cool. I like the
That
utilization
That reminded me of the
that.
Snyder Cut.
That's where it felt to me like
Yeah.
that's where it felt to me like almost like biblical, just because of the chapters and all. It
Yeah.
felt more like a novel almost.
Yeah. It switched to Anya at like the 117 mark.
Yeah.
Because I looked at my phone because I was getting kind of antsy. So I was enjoying the movie, but it's like I was getting antsy.
Are you telling me she's only in this for the last 20 minutes?
No, like
No.
hour 17.
No, I know. I'm saying when you were being antsy, you're like, how much is she in this movie?
Oh.
But turns out she's only in it for the last 15.
The other thing I forgot to mention earlier is they actually did a scan of Aaliyah and Anya's face. And for the teenage version, they combined both of them together.
Yeah.
So
I
it
remember
actually
that.
looked like her growing up into Anya.
It was interesting.
Cool.
It was cool use.
But yeah, this movie.
Yeah,
just-
easily. Yeah, my favorite scene is the scene between Furiosa when she finally manages to track Dementus down, and it's a great sequence in general of Dementus being chased around by Furiosa now that she has the upper hand, and there's a great shot with Dementus looking up at a sand hill, and that's
Yes.
just a really great use of silhouette against
The
the
cinematography
sky.
is just
Um,
beautiful.
Yeah. A different kind of, it does look like Fury Road, like in terms of like some of the color choices, but like
Yeah.
it does go for a different kind of aesthetic. It's not as like
Stylistic.
overtly like colorful like
Yeah.
Fury Road is.
Mhm.
This goes for a more neutral kind of aesthetic, which I think actually was fine for me.
The cinematography and stuff is incredible.
It's
though.
still a gorgeous film.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of great use of color here still. Just the scene between the two of them when you get the line where it's like, "I want them back," and that's the moment where Furiosa like talks the most, like because most of the movie she's fairly silent or she's screaming, which Anya Taylor-Joy has a great scream, and I heard something about that. She really practiced like her like primal almost yell and scream in this, but yeah, the scene between I always love scenes where it's just angry or like dramatic dialogue between the hero and the villain, and this is one of my favorite examples of that recently. In this where Dementus almost kind of like explains what he's about in a sense, where it kind of explains his motivations, because he's evil and he's psychotic, but like he kind of has a reason to be almost, and I'll let you guys get into like what happens to him.
Oh.
Yeah, I really want to talk about that. Yeah.
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 I thought it
Go
was going to be
ahead.
the last thing that we talk
That's
about.
what that is gonna be the last.
Okay, I
Oh,
want
last
to. I
thing.
want to
I'm
be
just
clear.
gonna lead into that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I that was hardcore.
Yeah.
just
Yes.
to say that.
I have something I want to say to lead into it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the character. What's his name? He reminds me of Max. The character.
Proyoton Jack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who Furiosa meets in the middle of the movie.
Tom Burke. I said
yes,
Jack Byrne
yes,
earlier.
it's Tom
That's my bad.
Her lover.
But they don't play up. They don't really play up the romance that much, which
No, they don't.
is good.
Towards the end, well, I would hope not at the beginning.
Yeah.
That'll be bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that I like that the inclusion of that character that and also helped establish her character a bit more, that she actually has somewhat of a connection to another person that's not purely just insane.
right.
'Cause She really has a disconnect the whole movie
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, and that's
She's
why
a
she doesn't
loner.
really talk that much
Yeah.
to the other characters
Yeah.
until like this point in the movie.
Yeah, my favorite villain from Fury Road. I was so happy to see him again in Furiosa.
Which-
Martin.
Morton
Morton Joe.
Yeah, I love.
They got a
love
good,
him.
they got a good a new replacement. I hate using replacement,
Yeah.
but I mean essentially it is.
They've got a good recast.
Yeah.
Don't you
good
love that
recast.
design
Yes.
too?
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
great.
good.
The first time I saw it, it reminded me of Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay.
But
Uh, fun fact. Again, Burke plays both Jack and Morton Joe. Kojima actually saw Burke on set
Mhm.
for Furiosa and
Hideo
told him that
Kojima.
he looked like Snake. And Burke was like, "Yeah, the first day that I
Oh
came
my
out in
God.
this makeup on set, everybody
been-
said that."
I've been wanting a Metal Gear movie for the longest time. Honestly, if they casted him as Snake,
Kojima said that he wants
I'd be
it.
happy to.
Kojima said he wants it. Yeah, no, I'm so fucking on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want a BioShock movie and a Dead Space movie.
Figures.
And
They've been talking about BioShock movie forever.
I know
thought
Netflix
that
is
there
supposedly
was-
doing something.
Yeah, I thought that there was some update recently about
I feel like Assassin's Creed would work better as a TV series.
It would have.
it. Yeah,
Every game was a season.
yeah.
Yeah.
New time period for every season.
Yeah. But yeah, this gorgeous shot. The stunts are out of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing action. Some really great acting. I don't know if there's anything else to say except
No, there's a lot to
There's
say
a lot
about
to say.
Furiosa.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that George Miller did with it was there's this boy who has dwarfism in Australia.
Yes.
And he went
yes.
viral a
A few
couple years ago about it
yeah.
because he was bullied really hard at school. And he got
There was a lot
offered a
of-
role
there
in
was a lot of stupid-
Furiosa.
He
There
was
a
the
lot
war
of-
boy.
There was a lot
Yeah,
of
he was the
stupid.
one on the war rig, the really intricate one.
There was a lot of stupid controversy about that video too, but I don't
Yeah,
really
I
get
didn't
into
find
it.
out about that.
I
controversy till
I did
recently.
look into it. It was a lot of terrible controversy about that.
Mm.
Nothing to do with what they did. Was the media.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That was another thing. I like the different rigs that we got in this. I'm not
Yes.
normally somebody to comment on vehicles
Yeah.
in movies and shows
but
and stuff.
with Mad Max, it makes sense because those
Yeah.
are almost like
The vehicles
You
are
know-
characters of their own.
yeah,
Yes.
like how the vehicle like the spaceships or starships in Star Wars are.
yeah.
You know,
They really are characters
they're
of their own.
intricate.
Yeah, Star Wars is one of the only exceptions to me not really talking about the vehicles for that exact reason.
X-wings, TIE fighters.
A wings, B wings, Y wings.
Hmm.
No, I really like the design of just that main war rig that they were driving for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I liked I like the they're not establishing shots because establishing shot is a completely fucking different thing.
Wide shots.
No,
or-
not wide shot. No, I mean like when you think of this as a prequel and you think of the term establishing shot, I feel like you could use multiple definitions here. And I feel like it's a very unique case for prequels specifically.
Establishing
Because you can say that
shots.
establishing shot is the literal definition of establishing shot, but you could also say that for stuff that you see in future movies.
Mhm.
For example, as soon as we saw the Furiosa arm, it was a Leo me
That was-
moment.
That was actually one of the coolest moments in the movie for me when Furiosa badly injures her arm
Mm.
and Dementis.
Yeah, as
ties
soon as
her
she
up.
gets pinned by that monster
And then
truck tire, I
he
was like,
walks-
oh.
Then he walks back and the arm is just cut off,
Mm.
and he just cuts away from that. I love stuff like that.
It's great. That was such a good
Uh-huh.
cut.
Mhm.
One other thing that I really wanted to make a comment on before I forget about it is one of the pursuits between Dementis actually it is that same pursuit between Dementis and Furiosa, where Dementis and his team is going after them, and they're chasing after her, and she goes around the mountain, but he goes over it with his monster truck.
Yep.
He pursues it over. It directly parallels Furiosa doing the same fucking thing to him when she's chasing
Oh,
after him
yeah.
as
Yeah,
death,
that's right.
basically. I love that moment.
Yeah,
Honestly, I feel like the last half of the movie is where we get most of our really great parallels and shots.
Yeah. She says they say she is essentially the fifth horseman of the
Yes,
apocalypse.
yeah, and that was such a hard fucking descriptor for a character.
There's so many.
I love that.
There's so many like just lines that they're just so like they just sound cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I know that that's kind of like I know that's kind of like a childish thing to say, but like this movie and Fury Road just have lines that you just hear them and like that's fucking awesome. And one of them is, "Do you have it in you to make it epic?" I mean, lines that just go so hard.
Yeah,
There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, Bose will just see this and go, hell yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a movie to talk about that stuff in, it's these movies.
It is. I feel like George Miller really is one of the kings of cool when it comes to filmmaking,
Yeah.
especially when it's
He's
about something
nearly
he's super
80,
fucking passionate
he's nearly
about.
80 years old.
Yeah.
God
it's going to be a
damn.
bummer when he's gone, man.
He's the most metal director living right now.
Yeah.
Really, like see what Fury Road with the flamethrowing guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
so happy when he returned for Furiosa.
Yes.
I had just the
Yes.
biggest smile.
You know what's
Flamethrower.
you know what's actually funny? The fact that the movie is rated R, but not one F-bomb throughout the entire film. Did you notice that?
It's like Star Wars. There's like no
I-
label.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
It's
Fury Road
but it's
and-
graphic though.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
thing.
Fury
Holy
Road
crap.
and Furiosa, not one F-bomb, which I was stunned. I was like, I was
the
expecting
weird
that
If
to
it wasn't
happen.
for violence, it would be like a PG.
Which-
Well, yeah.
Here's the like the Matrix movies are also rated R, and the first one is too. Is like when you watch them, they seem like they can like pass on for like PG-13.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now I know in Reloaded, there's that big orgy scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like other than that, like
They're still mild. Like
what were they R rated for?
It
Anyway?
had to have
Like,
been violence.
it was violence and then
eh,
language for the first one because of the Marilyn Manson song in the credits.
Oh,
Because there was
okay.
like 8
Okay,
F-bombs in that
gotcha.
song.
yeah. And also, I don't know I don't know if this did play into like I don't know if this did play into it with the Matrix. Because I know this was also brought up at the time. The shooting that happened in '99.
Columbine.
I feel like that also had to play into it to some
Probably.
It
extent
could
with
have,
the
yeah.
gun violence in it. You know, historical context is
Yeah.
important to that. So
I need to rewatch all the Matrix movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
I still haven't
I,
seen
Except for the
I
last one.
watching
still haven't seen it.
reading into like the Columbine stuff. I feel and they do reference stuff in the media like the Matrix and
Yeah.
also video games like Doom and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So you know,
Crap, I forgot the other thing I was going to mention.
was it? You're not gonna talk about the ending yet. are
Not
you?
yet.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say I don't think we're there yet.
No, I was gonna say movies like with the Horseman thing. I feel like there's a way, especially in sci-fi, to use religious iconography to enhance the story
Mhm.
because whether it's something you believe or not, it's a known story, and like it really adds like a depth to it where it's like because you know it's like something all the way from history. Like it adds like a just intensity to it.
Every like great sci-fi movie, I feel
It's
like
based
has
on religion.
that. Like,
yeah.
of course, this year Dune is very heavy in that. Like,
Yeah.
Star Wars, The Matrix is also very
Yeah.
heavy in the religious stuff
Yeah.
too. So,
It
yeah.
really adds to like the sci-fi.
hmm
But yeah, that's all I have till we'll get to the ending part.
Oh, okay. God, there was something else that I really want to talk. I like the storytelling for her arm because, like, I
Yeah.
just you think about it during Fury Road for just like a split second. You're like, oh man, I kind of wonder what happened. And obviously, we're going to get that story in this. And I was expecting it, but I like how important they made it. Like, basically, if you haven't seen the movie, first of all, go watch the movie. Come back.
Yeah.
Because it's that fucking good.
That's a
Why are
great-
you here?
Exactly.
Great fucking movie that you should be seeing right now.
Anyway, in case you haven't seen it and you're still here for whatever reason,
That's really like us.
there's the beginning of the movie is Furiosa getting separated from her mom. Her mom is like, memorize the stars. It'll lead you back to to
Yeah.
where we came from.
Yeah.
And so Furiosa meets. They call him a word man, right? Is that what they refer to him as? History
History
man.
man.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
She meets a history man, and the history man like scribbles the history of the world across his
Mhm.
body,
Yeah.
and so she starts scribing the star formation on her forearm,
Yes.
and they go to it multiple times before she loses her arm for obvious reasons. There's a rule of 3. They go back to it multiple times. Like Rictus seems to be falling in love with her when she's a little girl,
Yeah.
which that's
Yeah.
but
they don't go there. Like,
no,
not fully,
there's no
but-
like
No,
super
thank
explicit things. They don't
goodness.
say anything like specific.
If they would have
It's
went there, we
just-
would have liked this movie a whole lot less.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's just very fascinated with her, and it with all the other shit that we've seen in Mad Max, it's not hard to predict where it was supposed to go.
Right.
But Furiosa, he like catches Furiosa's arm because he pulls her out of the vault from the other
Yeah.
wives, and he's like, "Well, what's this?" And she distracts him with her hair because he's super fascinated with the bells in her hair.
Yeah.
But he almost catches her again later after she escapes and hides herself off as one of the it's a dogman, right? Is that what she ended up being referred to as? Was
I
a
believe
dogman?
I
yeah.
forget.
Well, she ends up becoming that, and Rictus is like, "I don't recognize you," or "Where have I seen you from?" And he looks at her wrong arm. He looks at her right arm instead of her left.
Yeah.
And he like goes to like double check it, and then before he can check the left, he gets called off.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I really like what they went.
Both these
where they
movies
went with
have terrific visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Without relying on much dialogue, which I love about them.
Yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be a bummer when we lose George Miller, because
Or when he decides to retire.
yeah, whichever comes first.
Which I believe the next Fury Road sequel is coming out in 2026.
He's got more.
Wastelander.
He's definitely got more planned.
2026, I believe already.
Well, I mean, he was developing Fury Road for
Decades.
Over 20 years.
30
yeah.
years almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he got his idea for it back in '87.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd been thinking about it ever fucking since. It was in development hell, basically.
Yeah.
Part of it was Mel Gibson didn't want to come back.
I just hope it is 2026 when it comes out. We
I
don't
hope
need to
so.
wait another 8 years for the next one.
Yeah, holy
No.
shit.
No.
Yeah, the one thing that I think hurt this movie, like for some people, was like just the insane amount of wait that they had to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There's a good like wait time for sequels or
Yeah.
next movies after. I
2 or
think
3 years, nothing
I think
more,
eight
really.
8 years is too long.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, you lose momentum. But still, I'm fucking glad we got it.
Yes.
at
Yeah,
least.
no,
So-
it was great.
Um,
I loved it.
And also, something I noticed when I watched Fury Road again. Something I something I
knew
noticed
it,
when I
Tony,
watched
I knew it.
when I watched Fury Road again last night. That they end on a quote. Fury Road does it right before it hits the credits, and the quote is actually by someone known as the First History Man, and that's something. Now that I've seen Furiosa, and I actually, because I don't think they ever mentioned like history men.
They
in
do
Fury
a little
Road.
bit in Beyond Thunderdome. Just a little
Okay,
bit.
then that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's because when I first saw Fury Road, I was like, what does that mean? But now this movie expands more upon that.
Yes,
Furiosa
yes.
does, which is cool. So,
We almost ready to get to the ending, or
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
one other thing that I wanted to mention before that, like these movies are not for everybody, but
No.
you should definitely watch them.
There.
This
Yeah.
is the lowest opening weekend for Memorial Day in 29 years.
Mhm.
Holy crap! I didn't know.
It
that.
only made like 20 million this weekend.
For
Although, to be fair, it was against Chris Pratt's Garfield.
That's not doing well either.
It made $90 million over worldwide, though.
Furiosa's still doing better.
well, at least it has that going for it.
Yeah.
It's true, though. I was waiting for Matthew for the movie theater, and I saw adults and kids were getting in line. I was thinking, yeah, they're going to go see Garfield.
I think people just put way too much expectation on certain things.
They
too.
do.
You're right over there,
Um,
Dylan.
And these movies are not for everyone, like I said. There's more than one factor that maybe contributed to that.
Right.
And also I just think
Right.
people like us get too riled up about box office in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
One thing I'll mention before we
Like
jump
we
into
got a great movie on our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I'll mention before we jump into the last scene in the rankings is while it is more of an action-based sci-fi, This is not like we said, it's not for everyone. This is not Star Wars. This is more
No.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
It's still
Okay.
it's an artsier sci-fi like Interstellar.
and that's
and
part
The
of-
Martian.
That's part of the
Yeah.
reason why I think this may not appeal to that many people, like
Right.
many casual people.
Yeah. Because it fits more into the cinema people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last scene.
Oh
this
Lord.
this scene is one of the most brutal scenes I have ever seen. That didn't include any actual on-screen violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just like
Yeah.
cut to it. It was great. I was so happy with it.
So what she did was when
Best forms of revenge I've seen in a movie.
Yeah, 100%.
so Chris Hemsworth is knocked out at some point, and she plants a seed in his stomach.
It wasn't the stomach.
Well,
No, it looked
it
it
like
was in that area.
Oh,
Yeah.
even worse.
Yeah.
So
When
anyway,
I saw that, you and I were looking at each other. We were like, "Oh my gosh, that's brutal."
we're not going to say where it was planted.
It was
Yeah.
planted in the seed of man.
We'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
The seed grew out of him.
Yep.
He can't live. He can't die because he's gaining nutrients from the tree, but it's also draining him of nutrients.
Yeah.
So he's in a state of perpetual agony.
Yeah, he's like
Oh
completely
my
skeletal.
God, that's crazy.
And there are only two people that fucking know about it too. It's
Furiosa.
Furiosa and was it the first History Man?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the only fucking people that know where he is. He's he's in the Citadel, way high up, hidden away from everybody. And there's just like, and you can see the vegetation that's been spreading around him over the years. And holy shit!
This is one of
It
the most.
puts Saw to shame.
It's one of the most freaking brutal scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, there's
That's
no
like
there's no
some,
blood or anything. It's
reminds me of the tale of Prometheus. Getting your gut.
Oh, yeah,
guts
yeah,
Oh,
open,
yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Having-
Yeah.
Getting feet fed on.
I mean, honestly, that
your
scene,
entrails.
Furiosa, it was disturbing, but I couldn't look away.
yeah. Holy crap!
But he- but he kinda
I bet
deserved
he's
it,
still
though.
there.
He
in
did.
Yeah, he
in the
deserved it.
Furious in Fury Road. Like, I bet he's like, he's still there.
He's
Yeah.
gotta
Oh,
be. He's
my
gotta
gosh,
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was. Whew. Good luck getting that image out of your head, folks.
That was just
That was
brutal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it has to be at least like 5 years after Furiosa
Yeah.
is where we saw that because it didn't
Maybe
spread
10.
sprout up that fast.
Going back to what you said, the most metal director.
yeah,
Like, that's just freaking death
Yeah.
metal
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was super creative.
One more thing I do want to mention before we get to the scores. It doesn't matter which order you watch with these two films, Furiosa or Fury Road. You can watch
They
them
work well either
Yeah,
way.
you can
Yeah.
watch them in any order. I
Yeah.
mean, they're both masterpieces of action movies, and no matter which order you watch, they're both amazing as they are.
One thing I'll mention real quick before the rankings, too. Sorry, one more thing again.
No, you're fine.
The original Mad Max has the original Saw in it.
Really?
The scene where he ties the guy to a car,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and he's like, "This is high tensile steel. You could either try to cut through the chain or cut through your
Oh
foot
yeah.
before the
That's
car
right.
blows up."
Mhm.
Saw's whole thing was taken from one quick scene in Mad Max back in the '79.
Yeah.
Well, James Wan is Australian.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my review of the original Mad Max on Letterboxd. I just put the original Saw.
But
It's
yeah.
ranking time.
Yes,
Oh,
ranking
dude.
time. I gotta at least go first on this one.
Yeah,
Go
you
for
guys
it.
go for it.
Okay. I do think our list is going to be very similar. You and I,
I
Matthew.
feel like all the lists are going to be similar.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's only like
There's
5
five,
movies
yeah.
now.
but we'll still see. So just want to let you know, people, I love these 5 movies. So none of these are bad at all. So whatever orders you go for, but I think most people might put this in the order close, say ranking. Fifth best. I'm gonna call it fifth best because it's not terrible at all. Fifth best is Mad Max, only because it hasn't aged well with the direction of the action and stuff.
Understandable. Okay.
Still awesome though. I know Beyond Thunderdome is very divisive, but it's my 4th favorite. I really enjoy Beyond Thunderdome a lot. I actually love the combination of Peter Pan and Gladiator with Mad Max. I actually like that combination. Road Warrior at number 3, Furiosa 2, and Fury Road 1. That's my ranking.
Okay.
I'm gonna only rank 4. I will definitely watch Thunderdome soon.
It's good. I think you like it.
Fury Road number 4 would be Mad Max 1. Still great, for what it is and what it led to.
Absolutely.
Then is Road Warrior, then Furiosa, and then of course Fury Road.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Mad Max 1,
Okay.
Beyond Thunderdome,
Okay.
Road Warrior,
Okay.
Furiosa. Fury Road.
I knew it.
Wow, this is really fucking crazy, guys.
Yeah.
Oh!
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
You have the exact same ranking, don't you?
No, I don't have the exact same rank, but we're all like in the same fucking place right now.
Yeah.
I think this is the first.
This isn't like the Star
Yeah,
Trek
I think
movies
this is
where
the
we had
first time.
completely different rankings.
Yeah. Well, like every other ranking we've ever done, like including our DCEU ones, our MCU ones, they've all been wildly different. Like we've had some really like close similarities.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
Dark
I think
Knight towards the top. or
Yeah,
whatever.
that was the closest that we got to us being in like almost complete agreement. So mine. First of all, I deliberately didn't say it. I deliberately didn't say it on the main episode because I wanted to say it on our Mad Max episode. Since I've figured out how to review shit on Letterboxd because I'm an old man and social media doesn't agree with me. Anytime that I watch a movie, I've been rating it. I wasn't doing it for this past year that I've been using Letterboxd. So now when I rewatch shit too, I
I
have
have a
to
pro
rate
account.
it. Yeah, I don't want to go back and rate shit that I haven't recently rewatched
yeah,
or
yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel fair to me.
I use Letterboxd like I use Facebook. Like, I'm always on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm not. I
only-
log my shit and I get the fuck out. I don't look at anybody else's stuff. I think it's fun.
I started
just
using
haven't.
Letterboxd more the past year. Before then, I didn't really pay attention to
Right,
it
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I started using it last year because before I was just like logging new movies I had seen for the first time.
Yeah.
But now I'm like doing all my rewatches and stuff, and
Exactly.
so I could see the stats and everything.
Yeah, I'm trying. I really just joined Letterboxd because I wanted to log all the shit that I've ever seen because I wanted to see it all in one place.
Yeah.
I just want to be a psycho like that. For my ratings, not my rankings, Fury Road I have at 4.5 stars. Again, if this is the first time that you're joining us, my ratings are a mix of how I think about it critically and how I think about it personally. So it's a massive smorgasbord. There's no very clear and concise like
Right.
rating system for me. But Fury Road 4.5. The first Mad Max 3.5. Road Warrior got 4. Beyond Thunderdome got 4 as well. I won't say my Furiosa rating yet because we haven't given our actual rating.
Yeah,
for
we'll give our
Furiosa
rating
yet.
at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll save that. My ranking for them though. My ranking for them has got to be Beyond Thunderdome, Mad Max, Road Warrior, Furiosa, Fury Road.
Yeah. So almost the
Yeah,
exact same.
no,
yeah.
we are
Almost,
almost
Only
all on the
bottom-
same exact
only
fucking
the bottom
page.
2 are.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we're really just fluctuating between 3 and 1.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting you to have Thunderdome at your top.
No,
That was-
it seems a character
was-
for me, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
I definitely.
Ever since last week when you put Wrath of Khan at like 10th favorite Star Trek movie.
I don't take it back. I'm not sorry.
You should be. You should be. I love it that it was 10th on your list, so I can see Paul get mad.
See, this is one of the
was
cases why I
entertaining.
wish I wanted to show my face on camera.
I
Because
know.
I fucking
know.
love when I give
Like-
bad takes.
It'll be like in Fight Club when Brad Pitt pops in that frame at certain points of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ranking or rating straight up 5.
For Furiosa?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna
I-
go 4.5. It's Fury Road is 5 for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it just because I need to sit on this movie more. I can't.
Okay,
I can't
true.
actively say whether or not this is like a perfect this is a 5 movie, but
Yeah.
it's pretty damn close.
I've
Yeah, I
changed
agree,
my
too.
rankings like a week after sometimes.
Yeah, I started doing that last year when I was giving almost every fucking movie a 10.
Yeah,
I went back and I was like, yeah, that wasn't a 10.
I originally gave the Marvels a 2.5, and I bumped up to a 3.
Good. It deserves a high
Good,
rating.
because I love the musical scene. It's funny.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it
the
was a
worst
good
scene.
addition.
No, it's not. It's great.
It was a good addition. Matthew just hates fun.
That's another conversation for another day.
John,
but
what-
I like musicals. I just don't.
Yeah.
I can't see that working.
Oh,
for
I'll
me.
keep laughing.
It-
at
it
I love
works.
That scene.
It-
Yeah,
it
worked for me
works.
and Dyllan. I'm
Not
sorry.
when
It just makes me
the way
beg another
Marvel,
question.
the way I see Marvel doing it. No.
John,
That-
what's your rating?
That's not a question another day. Full 10. Loved it. Awesome. Definitely get in my list of the best films of the year. Totally.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna have to go 4.5. It's gonna be tied with Fury Road
Okay.
because Furiosa really kicked ass.
Yes.
And same for Garrett. I think that we haven't had enough time with it.
Yes.
Right.
I think that
literally
we just need to
came
sit
out,
on it. Yeah.
so.
I will
And
say this.
I actually, I mean, it's Sunday now. Sometimes with newer movies, and this was a long movie. I watched this on Thursday, so some of my memory fades me a bit with like newer movies. So I think I'm gonna watch this again tomorrow. So
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll-
I hope to see it soon.
I'll say one more thing before we close out, and I won't say anything after this because obviously I don't want to give away my top movies of the year before the end of the year.
Right.
It's May. This is the last time I'm going to mention it. Furiosa is at number 2 for this year, as of what I've seen.
Damn. Okay.
So Dune and Furiosa are the top movies so far this year.
it
Makes
would probably
sense.
be 3 for me.
Yeah.
This
This year has
I'll just say, Dune Part 2 is my number 1, and then I'd actually say
Late Night with the Devil.
that's pretty close. It's definitely in the top 5. Number 2 actually might put Civil War.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess if
This
I
has been a pretty damn good year.
Yeah.
It
overall.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I could say real quickly, I would say Doom Part 2 at 1, Up at Planet of the Apes 2, and maybe Furiosa or Fall Guy at 3. So yeah, it's been great so far.
This year has the potential for my top 3 movies to all be sci-fi. Because Alien.
Oh
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
look
on.
forward to
Right
that
on.
one.
We'll see. I have high hopes for it. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
never know.
But,
I really like that Kaylee Spaney in Civil War.
Yes, she's
So I can't
been
wait
in
to
a
see her in
ton of
Alien.
stuff. Lately. So
But yeah, in conclusion, we loved it. It's great. You should go
See
check it out. Please don't let the box office discourage you. It's amazing.
You
Don't-
shouldn't be focusing on box office
No.
anyway.
Exactly. Don't
pay attention
focus
on the frickin' movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go start up your car, rev your engines, and race down to the theater.
And
Yeah. If
by-
you're
by
still
the end of-
here and you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
you'll be walking out of the theater going, "Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!"
Exactly.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe, give us feedback, good or bad. We'd love to hear from you what you have to say.
Yes. Very much.
Paul, if the last episode, well, the main episode, the
The
Our
main
podcast.
main episode,
the-
our main podcast
the 90s
episode.
blockbuster episode, if that gets 100 views and you are subscribed to our YouTube, you are entered to win a signed copy of Paul's movie, The First Harvest.
Hell
Which
yeah.
the two of us work together on
Yes.
Yeah.
as well. So
So
yes, I will sign it too. I was the DP on it and appear in it briefly, but yeah, I will. A couple of us will actually sign it.
yeah.
So yeah.
And also, don't forget the Phineas and Ferb season 1 review comes out this week. So
Heck yeah.
stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we hope you have a good week, and we hope you check out more of our content, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
God
Bye.
bless everybody, and don't forget to have a lovely day.
What a lovely day!
Witness me.
We have been the Cinema Asylum Podcast. You guys were awesome. Thanks for coming out. Good night.